Welcome to Classes with Atish. Today we will cover a very simple topic. We'll talk about even and odd functions. So let's get started with it. A function is said to be even if it follows this simple rule. F of minus x is fx. Then that function is an even function. Okay, we'll talk about examples very shortly. Similarly, when f of minus x is minus fx, then the function is an odd function. Very simple. Now, just a catch here, not all functions could be even or odd. Many functions could be neither. So, if f of minus x is neither fx or minus fx, then the function is basically not even and not odd. Okay, so it's very possible that a function is neither even nor odd. Okay, now let's take some examples. Let us look at some of the trigonometric functions. Let's look at sin x. Is sin x even or odd? Very simple. Let's evaluate what is minus f of minus x, which is sine of minus x. Now, simple rule to remember. If these are the four quadrants, x-axis, y-axis, add sugar to coffee. All trigonometric ratios are positive in this quadrant. Sine is positive in the second quadrant, and so is cosec is positive in the second quadrant. Tan is positive in the third quadrant, and so is cot, and cos is positive in the fourth quadrant, and so is sec. Okay, so if we look at sine theta, then sine theta is positive, but if we look at minus sine theta, so how do we get to minus angles? When we move counterclockwise, the sign of the angle is positive. When we move clockwise, then the sign of the angle is negative. So minus sine of minus x. So theta is in this quadrant only cos is positive. So this should be minus sine x. What does that mean? This means this is minus fx. Okay. So f minus x is equal to minus fx. So that means sine x is a odd function. Okay. Alright, let's look at another example now. Obvious example to follow is fx is cos x. Now is cos x a even function or odd function? So obviously we can see f of minus x is cos of minus x. Now cos minus theta, the angle is in this quadrant, and in this quadrant cos is positive, so which means this will be equal to cos x. So f of minus x is equal to fx. So what that means is cos x is a even function. Okay. It is as simple as this, how you can find out whether a function is odd or even. Now, let's go over some properties of even and odd functions. So first, let's list out some properties of even functions. Okay. So first is if there are two functions f and g which are even, then their product and their differences are also even functions. So if okay, f divided by g or fx divided by gx is even provided gx is not equal to 0. Similarly, gx divided by fx is even provided fx is not equals to 0. Even functions are not one-to-one functions. Okay, we'll talk about what are one-to-one functions when we study a calculus and functions in much more detail, but even functions are not one-on-one functions. Number 5. So an even function fx with respect to x is symmetrical about the y-axis. For example, y equals x square. This function is even function and it is symmetrical about the y-axis. Similarly, a function which is even with respect to y is symmetrical about the x-axis. Okay. Now, a little bit about odd functions as well. An odd function is always symmetrical about the origin or in opposite quadrants. Okay. Now, if f and g are two odd functions, then their sum or difference is also an odd function. F plus minus g is odd function. Okay. If f is even and g is odd function, then f x dot gx is an odd function, as well as fx divided by gx is an odd function provided gx is not equals to 0. Okay, few other general rules. Not all functions are even or odd. Let's say rule number A, not all functions are even or odd. Like for example, if there is an even function plus an odd function, then this is neither even nor odd. Okay. And the last one I wanna share is, maybe I can use this part of the board. If fx is even, then first derivative of fx, which is f dashed x or differential df dx is odd. Okay. Similarly, if fx is odd, then the first derivative f dashed x is even. Okay. Very simple example I can give you. Y sine x. We know this is an odd function because sine of minus x is minus sine x. Now y dashed, which is dy dx, first derivative, sine x cos x This is an odd function, however y dashed x is an even function. Okay.